All right, now it's time to turn to Supervisor Ahsha Safaí. He is a first-generation Iranian immigrant who earned a master's degree in city planning from MIT and moved to San Francisco in 2000. And now he is running for mayor and drawing on his time as a former labor organizer.
8 years, I represented frontline workers like janitors, delivery drivers, and sanitation workers, bringing labor and business together.
Safaí currently represents District 11 in San Francisco, which includes the Outer Mission, Ingleside, and Excelsior neighborhoods. And we're so glad to welcome Supervisor Safaí to the studios today. I really appreciate you being here. I want to touch on something that you bring up in your ad, and that is your time of working with everyday workers. As we know, those are the people who right now, Supervisor, are struggling in San Francisco. How do you plan to bring more affordable housing to the city?
Listen, I'm running to be mayor of this city to represent all San Franciscans. So many middle-class working families are being pushed out. Economic inequality is really impacting everyday lives. Things like accessible, affordable childcare, things like free city college. This mayor actually raided the fund that funds free city college. That's where nurses, that's where paramedics, that's where, our 911 call operators, all of our frontline workers, a lot of them go to City College and it's their transition. On the affordable housing side, you look at my district, there was no housing built in 75 years before I was elected 8 years ago. But I was able to sit down both with private developers as well as nonprofit developers, and we've built over 600 units of housing. 65% of that is for working and middle-class families, those that teachers, nurses, firefighters, those janitors, those that are left out often. And prior to the last 20 years, you could buy a home in my district. You could buy a home for a few $100,000. Today, those homes are going for $2 million. So it's incumbent upon us, if we don't want to be a tale of two cities, if we want to be balanced, we have to have an agenda for working and middle-class families, and that is the main reason why I'm running.
Yeah, and obviously the affordability issues when it comes to housing, they come from the fact that there is just a shortage. There are not enough places for people to live. What do you think needs to change at City Hall in terms of how these housing projects are approved to get more of them in the pipeline sooner?
Well, listen, we have 40,000 plus fully entitled projects right now. But what we're missing is the financing and the way in which to get them done in a quick manner. So we passed legislation. I led legislation that was just passed 3 weeks ago. Took some time to get it through the process, but we got it passed, that says if you use union pension fund money, and most of the projects that are 50 units or more use union pension money, we will reduce your transfer tax from 6% to 3% to incentivize people to invest. We have to incentivize people to come back to this market. I was a president of the retirement fund, $33 billion fund here in San Francisco. We're investing in real estate projects and other types of other areas of the economy all over the world, except San Francisco. So we have to make it attractive for investors, and that's part of the way to do that. And we put union people, good union-paying jobs to work, and we build affordable housing on site. A lot of this really boils down to leadership and accountability. When I started with Mayor Brown 24 years ago, I learned from the best on how you manage the city. You have to be hands-on, and as mayor, that's what I would do to jumpstart the economy and get housing production going again.
Ahsha, obviously another big issue facing people in San Francisco is the homelessness crisis. I want to ask you about the recent encampment sweeps and how you feel about those, and is that an approach that you support?
Listen, at the end of the day, our sidewalks have to be for everyone. When I moved here 24 years ago, I remember vividly experiencing people living on the streets, using drugs in a way I had never seen before. Today, it is 1,000 times worse. The fentanyl crisis has impacted San Francisco like no other city in the United States. 811 people died on our streets last year. Over 3,000 have died over the last few years. It's more than double the number of people that died in San Francisco in COVID. So we have to have an aggressive approach. Prop 36 will change the ability for judges to look at someone's criminal record and say, if you are continuing to commit crimes that is based on your drug addiction, we're going to compel you into treatment now. Judges don't have that authority, and that's why I think Prop 36 will be a good thing. We also have to form partnerships with places like the Salvation Army. I was the first person to lead an effort on the Board of Supervisors to do abstinence-based drug-free housing in over 50 years in San Francisco. It just was something that we moved away from. But I got that done 3 years ago. The Salvation Army has 1,000 beds that they want to partner us with, and we can get those online, and we can get people on the road to recovery. And lastly, we got to build more shelter. We've really driven home this housing first agenda, which is good in theory, but when people are suffering on the streets, we have to get them up. And then lastly, I'd say, the Homeward Bound program, which we talked about before you had me on here, we passed that legislation. Give people the tickets, reunify them with their families back home in the communities that they're from.
All right, we're going to continue the conversation here with San Francisco Supervisor Ahsha Safaí coming up after the break. And we will talk about public safety in the city and how he plans to address those really pressing issues.
Great, thank you.